Today, our meditation is finding a path to self-love. And it's not like we can just say, oh, I just love myself on a dime. It's not like we can just start loving ourselves when we've been so self-critical for a long time. We practice a lot of self-improvement, and that makes it difficult for us to accept and love ourselves just the way we are. So join me in this little journey to self-love. Let's get started. And let's start, like I often like to, with a little bit of movement. Stretching, listening to the body, and doing whatever feels right in this moment. And that kind of signals to us, to our bodies, to our minds, that we're doing something different. We're transitioning from what was to what is. And if you're sitting, having both feet on the floor can be helpful to feel that ground beneath your feet. You can close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. It's fine to have them open with a light gaze in front of you. And to notice what's happening within the body. When we're meditating, if something comes up that needs our attention, it's fine to attend to it and then come right back. That happens in life too. Our minds may wander, and that gives us the opportunity to notice that the focus has shifted and bring the focus back to anything that's happening in the present moment. And our focus today is on radical self-love. And we would only need to do that if self-love is absent in some area. So let's begin by considering where and when we are hard on ourselves, when we are self-critical. It may be a nearly constant voice in your head. There may be certain situations that encourage self-criticism. And there may even be some self-loathing, some self-hatred of some way of being, where there's been a message that that's not okay. Or there may be aspects of the body that we are in a battle with. And the struggle that creates, where we are fighting something within ourselves, either because Our families have told us that we shouldn't be that way, or the culture or society says that there's some model of perfection that we don't meet. Perhaps it's tied to our gender. The way women or men are supposed to be, according to someone. Or maybe there's something we've been working on and we feel like we've been failing at that. And sometimes we'll try positive affirmations, some sort of countering word that we put up against whatever that internal voice is. Sometimes that works. Sometimes it's not enough. Sometimes it almost makes it worse when we have this internal debate. Both sides attempt to get stronger. And the well-worn voice can tend to win out. We can consider that this inner critic, on some level, is trying to be helpful. The inner critic is trying to push us to improve, to not make mistakes, to fit in. And when we can see it not as an enemy trying to be mean to us, but as a misguided attempt to help us be the best human beings we can be, perhaps that lessens the struggle. We can recognize and acknowledge and even thank the mind for trying to be helpful. Rather than struggling with it or fighting it or pushing it away, we let it mumble in the background while we set our sights on something healthier, something more helpful. And it starts with some self-compassion. Not arguing against that voice, but offering a gentler form of internal support. And that self-compassion can be hard to do if we're not practiced at it. We've had many, many years of criticizing ourselves, so we're very good at it. We have to practice self-compassion. One place to start is to imagine what kinds of words or comfort you would offer to someone you loved who was suffering, who was feeling less than, not good enough. Finding your inner encourager. A phrase that you can evoke when you notice self-criticism happening. With mindfulness meditation, part of what we do in this practice is to learn to accept the present moment, just the way it is and just the way it isn't. Knowing that change will happen because that's life. And if we can bring that same attitude to ourselves, of accepting ourselves just the way we are and just the way we aren't, not tolerating, not grinning and bearing it, not putting up with it, but truly accepting the way we are right now, because that is how we are. It doesn't mean we'll always be that way, but it's very difficult to effect change if we're struggling with what's already happening. Acceptance takes practice too. But it is the key to freedom. And if we can cultivate self-compassion, being tender and kind to ourselves, and self-acceptance, being willing to be in our own bodies and with our own ways of being, that makes self-love possible. That you can begin to love every aspect of yourself, it brought you to this moment. Your body has carried you to this place. Your way of being makes you, you. And we're not perfect. But we are trying. If your mind has wandered across a lot of territory, I'll invite you to pick one aspect of yourself and offer that part of you compassion, encouragement, acceptance, and love. As we transition to the end of this time of meditation, I would like you to take your arms and wrap them around yourself so that your right hand is touching your left shoulder, behind your shoulder, and your left hand is behind your right shoulder. And squeeze. Give yourself a hug, a sign that all is well and all will be well. And you've got this. And transitioning into stretching, wiggling fingers and toes, opening the eyes if they've been closed, or lifting the gaze, taking in your visual surroundings, and taking a moment to reflect on what you'd like to take away from this time. I always like to encourage you to take just a minute or two to consider what it is that resonated for you in that. It wasn't just meditation, there was some teaching, and there may be a lesson there that you want to hold on to. So I'd encourage you to write it down. That can be helpful. And sometimes just putting that in a comment can help you remember it a little bit better. At the end, I will leave a link to another meditation that you might find helpful. Thanks for being with me today, and have a good day.